Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aina Shamin Najihah Binti Zainudin, a representative of my teammates Anis Syafiqah Binti Yusof and Farra Binti Hatta. So a very good day I bid to all our panels, Madam Nurdia Binti Amit and Miss Aisha Binti Syafiqah, and to our supervisor, Madam Nurdia Azlin Binti Ghazali. In this video, we are going to present our final year project entitled Stress Among Parents Having Children with Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. First and foremost, ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder and one of the most common behavioral disorder among children. Based on Attention Deficit Disorder Association, ADHD are estimated to affect 5% to 10% of children and 3% to 6% of adults globally, while 3.9% around Malaysia. Next, National Institute of Mental Health stated that ADHD child will have a repeated trend of signs that can be presented as inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. There is no solid cure for ADHD at present, but behavioral and pharmacological approaches are said to be effective strategies in treating ADHD, said by Henderson in 2008. Therefore, this treatment will eventually affect parents' daily routine as well as their emotional behavior, which lead to presence of stress among them.
Stress has marked a huge amount of impact on every individual and has a vital effect on their mental well-being. For this study, the problem arises when dealing with ADHD children become increasingly complex and ultimately affect parent daily routine as well as their emotional behavior. Thus, there might be a high probability in the presence of stress among parents with ADHD children, especially those who are working. Winner et al. In their research also stated that parents of ADHD children have encountered more stress than parents of control children, and stressed parents tend to neglect their children and might do things out of control. This can be proven when ADHD children was beaten, swept, and kicked several times by his mother at a train station because the victim failed to follow her instructions correctly. The reporter 2017. Not only that, the Standard 2018 also had reported the same situation when a grandmother, who also his caregiver, was arrested on charge of killing her 6-year-old grandson, who was diagnosed with ADHD at a Love Hotel Taipei. Due to that, parents are chosen as the target population since they are the closest person and responsible to look after the child. Therefore, their mental health should be the first concern in taking care of this child.
Okay, proceed with the research objective. Our first objective is to describe demographic background of the parent with ADHD children. We use descriptive analysis. For the second objective is to identify the perceived stress among parents with ADHD children. We also use descriptive analysis. While for the last objective is to identify the contributing factor that affect the stress of parent, we use binary logistic regression.
Moving to methodology section, 321 parents of students who are enrolling special education program offered by schools in Wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur and are diagnosed with ADHD are made as population in this study. On top of that, sample are consist of 175 parents having ADHD children that are enrolling special education program offered by schools in WPKL. In this study, cluster sampling is used as sampling method where 87 schools in Kuala Lumpur are listed as cluster. By using Craig and Morgan table in 1970, with population equal to 321, the sample is obtained to be 175. From that, the sample of clusters was chosen by using simple random sampling, and therefore 36 schools were then randomly selected as to fulfill the required amount of sample. Data collection method is begin with distributing the questionnaires to teachers in selected cluster, which are 36 schools that includes 175 parents. Teachers then distributed the questionnaires among the sample, which are parents of ADHD children. All required information for this study are gathered from the questionnaire, and respondents were given a week to complete the survey. Teachers then collect the questionnaires and therefore given to the researchers. Furthermore, for instruments, the questionnaire is adopted and combined from research by Carlson, Giesinger and Johnson in 2014 and the Parent Stress Scale PSS by Berry and Jones in 1995. Questions are focused and divided into two categories, which are parents and children. The perceived stress among parents are defined according to the percentage of total score calculated in the 18 item of PSS. The stress scale indicates that if the total percentage falls below 60%, subject will be considered as not having stress, while if equal and above to 60%, they will be considered as stress. There are 9 variables in this study, including parent and child domain. Dependent variable is the parent stress, which is a qualitative and binary variable as they are categorized into stress and not stress. Independent variables under parent domain are parents' gender, their marital status, financial and social support they receive. For child domain, the variables included are child's age, presence of comorbid, ADHD diagnosis duration, and child's gender.
So, in order to achieve the first objective of this research, a descriptive analysis is used to describe the detail of demographic characteristics of the respondent for both parent and child domain. For parent domain, the items involved are parent marital status, financial, and social support. So, as we can see, for the first figure depict the marital status of respondent, which fall into three categories, which are single, divorced, and married. From a total of 175 parents who are having children with ADHD, 142 of them are married, 81.1%, and 22 of them are divorced, 12.6%, while the balance 11 parents are single, 6.3%. Next, for the social support, it is recorded that 88 responded are having problems with their relative after having ADHD child, 50.3%, and another 87 respondents reported not having problems with their relative, 49.7%. For the parent financial, about 41.7% of respondents receive a salary of more than 3,000, while 29.7% of respondents earn between 105,000 to 3,000, and only 28.6% earn less than 105,000 every month. Okay, now we are moving to the child domain, which consists of child age, comorbidity problem, and diagnosis duration. For the child age, it is recorded that the mean of child age involved in this study is 12 years old with standard deviation of 3.72. The median is 12 years old, and the most of the respondent child is aged 8 years old, which also the most.
Okay, for the graph child comorbid, we can see about 32.6% of the children are having comorbidity problem, such as dyslexia and autism, while the balance 67.4% of the children does not have any comorbidity problem. For the next graph is child diagnosis. 86.3% of the child diagnosed with ADHD from 3 years and above, while the balance 13.7% children diagnosed with ADHD from 1 to 2 years.
Moving to results and findings for objective number 2, perceived stress among respondents. Descriptive analysis is used to identify the perceived stress among parents with ADHD children based on aforementioned independent variables. As shown in the table, the percentage of respondents who are categorized as not stressed are much higher, which is 78.3%, compared to those who are stressed, which is 21.7%, with difference of 56.6%. For objective number 2, results and findings are also categorized into two categories, which are parent domain and child domain. Going through parent domain first, graph on the left shows the percentage of perceived stress among parents based on parents' gender. It can be summarized that female parents are found to be more stressed when handling ADHD children, which is 73.7%, compared to male parents, which is 26.3%. Next graph on the right shows the percentage of perceived stress based on marital status of parents. It can be concluded that the most stressed parents are the married one, which is 68.4%, as compared to single, 10.5%, and divorced, 21.1%, parents of ADHD children. Next graph of perceived stress among parents based on their financial conclude that parents of ADHD children who earn above 3,000 ringgit monthly are more stressed, which is 42.1%, as compared to monthly financial category of below 1,500 ringgit, which is 36.8%, and between 1,500 ringgit and 3,000 ringgit, which is 21.1%. The last graph for parent domain shows the percentage of perceived stress among parents according to the social support they receive. It can be concluded that most of the respondents who are not stressed are not dealing with any social support problems, while the most stressed parents are dealing with the issue due to the ADHD children they have.
Next is child domain. This domain includes all the independent variables of the child, which are the gender, age diagnosed duration, and the presence of comorbid problem. The first figure portrays the percentage of perceived stress among respondents based on their children's gender. From the graph, it can be summarized that parents are more stressed when handling male ADHD children as compared to female ADHD children. Next, the graph shows the percentage of perceived stress based on child comorbid and the corresponding duration of ADHD diagnosis. Graphs show that it can be concluded that parents are more stressed when they have to handle ADHD children who have been diagnosed for 3 years and above and also do not have any coexisting diseases such as dyslexia and autism. This figure indicates the mean and standard deviation of the child age and the perceived stress among respondents. Since both of age fall into range of primary school, thus it can be concluded that parents are more stressful when their children are at their early age.
Proceed with our last objective, which is to determine the contributing factor that affect the stress of parents. From the omnibus test, the model is the good predictability. From the Hosmer and Lemons-Ho test, the model is good fit. While Nagarkar R-squared shown that about 14.2% of total variation in perceived stress among parents can be explained by all variables in parent domain and child domain. Factor affecting parent stress. As we can see from the output, there are only two indicators that found to be significant, which are marital status and social support. Social support has positive effect on the perceived stress of the parent. When the question asked to the respondent, do problem with relative have been rising after having ADHD child? Meanwhile, for the marital status, divorce has negative effect on the perceived stress of the parent having ADHD child. Okay, we proceed with the classification table. As we can see, sensitivity shown that 7.9% of the respondents are correctly classified, since not many of them achieve stress more than 60% in the PSS test. While for the specificity value, 96.4% of the parents that are not facing any stress although having children with ADHD. Overall percentage of the predictive efficiency is 77.1%, which is more than 50%. This indicates that the model is good predictive efficiency. For the significance of this study is to help parents with the ADHD children to adopt a more suitable parental nurturing, especially in handling ADHD children. Next, giving extra attention to the psychological well-being of parents and provide awareness to the public to be more aware of this parent stressful situation. Last, Ministry of Health would also help ADHD patients and family to understand the importance of receiving proper treatment to ADHD children.
As the conclusion, Malaysia recorded 3.9% incidence rate of ADHD among children, where the prevalent rate is higher in boys 8% as compared to girls 4%. For objective 1, it can be concluded that most of the respondents are married and having the social support problem and earn more than 3,000 per month. And while children involved in this study mostly do not have comorbidity problem and have been diagnosed more than 3 years. And for the second objective, it can be summarized that parents of married women who earn more than 3,000 monthly are observed to be more stressed when having a younger male child with ADHD. And lastly, from the logistic regression analysis, it showed that contributing factors to the stress of parents with ADHD children are the social support and marital status, which is divorce. Based on the finding of this study, there are numerous possibilities that can be implemented for future study. Firstly, one of the main purposes of this study is to determine the contributing factors that affect the stress of parents having children with ADHD. Since there are only two factors that are significant effects, thus it is suggested for future research to determine the extension of factors contributing to the parenting stress and the factor that moderated significant variable relationship with parenting stress. Next, it is also suggested to include a wide range of variables such as parent psychopathology and genetic basis as stated from the previous study, which are Hong and Margaret 2013. Finally, since Wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur is ranked as second top state that had poor mental health in the Malaysian Ministry of Health on mental health performance in 2016, thus, it is really recommended for future research to choose the latest ranking on poor mental health, which is Sarawak, so that a better and precise result can be obtained, and hope that this disease can be widely studied and beneficial to the public.
That's all from us. Thank you.